Governor Mutfwang visits collapsed school building, directs its immediate closure. Plateau Police Command parades suspects for various offenses. We are glad you could join us on Panorama today in Jos. I am Bilkisu Nuhu. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and on YouTube channel NTA News Online and other social media platforms showing on your screen. Gombe State Government is seeking presidential intervention towards the actualization of the Kolmani Integrated Development Project in the state. This was part of issues as the State Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya visited President Bola Tinubu at the State House.
In 2022, former President Muhammadu Buhari officially flagged off the Kolmani Development Project to explore and refine crude oil in northern Nigeria. But Governor Inuwa Yahaya expressed displeasure that 2 years after, the project with huge potential for the northern part of the country is yet to take off.
I think there are some issues with the NNPC and also the partners that engage or the developers. Those issues really have strangled operations to take off. And in fact, it's part of the discussion I had with Mr. President, believing that once he steps in, maybe we'll see activities back for the fact that petroleum and gas are under the exclusive list, and there isn't much we can do. And the NNPC is the only company that is supposed to handle anything gas or petroleum in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And as such, the presidential intervention, which I came and thought for, will really maybe make the things to return back and activities will resume on the site as soon as possible.
The governor also spoke about various efforts at supporting the federal government agriculture and food security drive.
Our engagement has been very robust. We touched on all the issues, and I'm satisfied and I'm convinced that Mr. President is ready and has been doing his best and will continuously do his best in order to deliver on the mandate and see that Nigeria is out of the current situation and has improved and has gone to catch up with the rest of the developed world.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang has ordered the immediate closure of St. Academy Secondary and Primary Schools following the collapse of the secondary section, which left 22 students dead with many others injured. The governor gave the order during a visit to the school. Caleb Gochin reports.
The governor described the incident as unfortunate and commended the community for its prompt response to rescue the victims. He cautioned particularly some private school owners whose drive for profit maximization overshadows the safety of lives, noting that henceforth the government will come after such persons. He added that both public and private schools will henceforth be subjected to structural integrity test to avert future occurrence.
It's an incident that could have been avoided. Clearly, you can see that the building leaves a lot to be desired. Let me appreciate the people of Plateau State who rushed to the scene in their numbers. People also lent their equipment for use. This is our common humanity.
The governor also visited the injured victims who are receiving treatment in various hospitals in Jos metropolis, promising to settle their medical bills. Governor Mutfwang said Order 003 is not meant to witch hunt anybody, but to sanitize the city center. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
With me in the studio this afternoon is the Nigerian Institute of Architects, Plateau State Chapter, Olukoya Olusegun Godwin, to shed more light on causes of building collapse and way forward. We are glad to have you in the studio, sir.
Thank you very much.
As an architect, what do you think are factors responsible for building collapse we are experiencing?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. Over time, we have always observed that most people do not patronize the use of professionals in the construction and delivery of their building projects. Even from what we have seen, even from the collapse site, we discovered that all the buildings there were shoddily done, poorly executed, and below standard. And once you don't patronize professionals who can be held responsible when there is a problem, of course, we'll continue to have the menace of building collapse. And aside from that, of course, the use of substandard materials, the use of poor technical know-how, and even the execution, supervision, and also the part of the government, which is to also monitor and ensure that only projects that are qualified to be out there are approved, even from, by the approving body, which we have like the GMDB in Plateau State.
Okay, apart from these reasons, from the report we just watched now regarding the Science Academy, what other factors do you think are responsible that caused the collapse?
Yeah, from what we observed and from even some preliminary investigations that were done, the building was initially a bungalow, as it were, and then they started adding floors and introducing columns and all of that. And even from the execution of that, we discovered that the columns and the choice of materials, because most of the materials were even dusting off, and then the way the reinforcement bars were laid, it even separated, even as it were, from the concrete. And so you discover that so many things, so many negligence, so many incompetence came to the fore and the front burner in that place.
Okay. There seemed to be a recurring issue of building collapse lately. What do you think necessitates this? Yeah,
you see, from what we have been observing, because this is not the first time that this is happening, we discovered that like the buildings that you have been seeing collapsing, so far we have discovered that there are no professionals that were involved in the execution of those projects. And once a professional, and we have a team, because it's not just one profession that works on a building project. You have the architects, you have the structural engineer, you have the builder, even to the point of having quantity surveyors, and the geophysicist, who will also test the soil to ascertain if, and do a soil test and give a report, because those are part of the materials you gather to both design and also to execute, the project. So once these are missing, definitely the building will have issues or even ultimately collapse.
Okay, before a building collapse, there must be signs that it shows. What are those signs that people should look out for to know that such a building is bound to collapse? Okay,
part of the signs that you will observe, of course, when you look at the speed of dilapidation, some of these buildings that are supposed to last for a longer time because of poor quality materials, you will see it dilapidating fast. And then the dead load of it, that's the building itself, not being able to even carry its own weight, let alone when you start loading it. So you discover that even when life load comes on, maybe you bring in furniture, you bring in other materials, and then the occupants start occupying, you will notice some vibrations. You will notice some movements in the building. Once those things start happening, you should know that, of course, that building cannot be occupied and it shouldn't be managed at all. Okay. Those are some of the signs that we observe.
As an institute,
yes,
what is your mandate?
Well, our mandate is to ensure, because as an institute we have the regulatory body, which is Architect Registration Council, that regulates the practice of architecture. And our mandate and our core value is to design, supervise, execute, and coordinate all the allied profession in the built environment, because the architect is actually the head of the building industry. And we coordinate all the activities of the allied professional. We work with the other professionals in the built environment to ensure that whatever the clients require in terms of quality delivery and all of that, we coordinate the activities and we ensure that the client at the end of the day is satisfied. So those are, they call these things. So it's not just to draw, because people think architect is just to draw, hand over the drawing and go. Even to the point of facility management is part of our core, to ensure that that building continues to live, as it were, because the building is also considered like as a living being.
Okay, how do you ensure that these standards are being adhered to in the course of building?
Okay, in the course of building, this is where we have a little challenge, because most people believe that they can handle their projects themselves. They've seen it done somewhere, so they don't need the professionals to be on site. If we can have people understand the role of the professionals and involve the professionals in the execution of their project, I can assure you that that building will be properly executed and there won't be any failure, at all.
Okay, so how do we avert such scenarios in the future?
Okay, to avert such scenario in the future, number one, we need to get the professional, because the first point of call for any person that wants to design a building is the architect. The architect gets the town planners, to play their role, gets the structural engineer to also play their role, the builders to play their role, coordinate those activities. And once those things are properly put in place, with everybody playing their key role, such incidents will be averted. And also, the truth is that government alone cannot monitor the execution of projects. And that is where there must be collaboration between government and professionals. If government feels they don't need professionals, they don't need to consult professionals, and they can just pick just anybody, because the professional bodies, they know their members, and they know those that will do what they are supposed to do properly, because there are some professionals that are cutting corners. We cannot deny that fact. So if government consults professionals and they recommend their members, the body takes responsibility, and you can be sure that they won't recommend somebody who will disappoint at the end of the day. So the government and the professionals all working together to ensure that those projects are properly managed, properly supervised, and properly executed. Thank you.
So what final message do you have to the society regarding issues of building?
For the general public, I want to commiserate first with those families that lost loved ones due to building collapse, and we pray that God will grant them the fortitude to bear the loss, and pray for recovery for those who are injured and in hospital. We want to advise that when you want to execute a project, the money you will spend engaging a professional will save you in the long run when you want to begin to correct a major error that will have been done by incompetent hands. So let us patronize professionals. We have them, we have their office, we have them in town. Get them involved in your project, and they will guide you. And these people, their body is such that we give them check, so they cannot just do things anyhow. So I think that if the general public can patronize the allied professionals, they will not fail at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank
we have
you.
been discussing with the Chair, Nigeria Institute of Architecture, Plateau State Chapter, Olukoya Olusegun Godwin. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Panorama will continue shortly after this break. Welcome back. The Republican candidate Donald Trump was evacuated from the stage at a rally on Saturday after what sounded like gunshots rang out at an event in Pennsylvania. The former U.S. president was seen with blood on his right ear as he was surrounded by security agents who hustled him off the stage as he raised his fist to the crowd. Governor Caleb Mutfwang says the Middle Belt utilizes its potentials properly. It can rid its people of poverty, which he describes as a major cause of conflicts. The governor made this known when the Middle Belt Train Trust visited him at the Government House, Jos. The report. The Middle Belt team was led by former Chief of Defense Staff General Martin Luther Agwai, who explained to the governor the mandate of the trust. General Agwai says the forum is a collection of people of integrity who are out to change the fortunes of the Middle Belt and harness its huge potentials. He noted that they will be working on issues of land, human rights, conflict, and youth empowerment.
I feel that we can, based on international best practices, be able to work top down, bottom up, to find how we can work together, those at the bottom and those at the top, and that is why we are so grateful that His Excellency has been able to grant us this audience.
Governor Mutfwang assured the group of total support of the state government, saying it is time for the zone to unlock its potentials in human and mineral resources. The governor lamented how poverty has ravaged the Middle Belt over the years, noting that nobody can liberate the zone if not the people of the zone.
To assure that you will enjoy, by the grace of God, every support that we can give as government. And we'll try to also to reach to our colleagues. I'm sure you are visiting all the states. When I do meet some of my colleagues within the states that you are already working in, we'll expand this conversation and see how we can be of assistance as we look forward to lifting our people out of poverty.
The Middle Belt Brain Trust is made up of people from Plateau, Kaduna, Nasarawa, Benue, and Taraba states. Plateau state government says it will continue to make the environment conducive for religious adherents to practice their religions without hindrances. Governor Caleb Mutfwang stated this while receiving the 2024 Hajj officials in Jos. Ijoma Ozomina reports.
The delegation, which was led by the 2024 Amiru Hajj, Ambassador Yahaya Kwande, appreciates the governor and the state government for making this year's Hajj a huge success. Ambassador Kwande explained that Plateau State pilgrims conducted themselves peacefully in the Holy Land as there was no report of any misbehavior.
In Saudi Arabia that accommodate people came to realize our good behavior and our activities in such a way that we even came back with an award.
Governor Mutfwang commended the team for hard work as well as the pilgrims for not tarnishing the image of the state.
The executive secretary and the chairman and his team for all the efforts they put together to be able to make sure that this pilgrimage was performed honorably. I think the reports we've had from some of the pilgrims from our state is quite heartwarming. They were happy.
The governor further urged the pilgrims to be of good conduct as the state is expecting a lot from them. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
In its effort towards raiding criminal hideouts and reducing crime in the state, the Plateau State Police Command has arrested and paraded 60 suspects in connection to various criminal offenses. Again, Ijoma Ozomina has details.
Briefing newsmen on some of its major operational achievements recorded from May to date, the State Commissioner of Police, Olugbemiga Emmanuel Adesina, says series of stakeholders' engagement have been held in addition to intensive patrol and raiding of criminal hideouts. This, he explains, has led to series of arrests ranging from armed robbery, culpable homicide, kidnapping, arrest of cultists and child traffickers. Items recovered from the suspects include 79 rounds of 7.62 millimeters ammunition from one Sani Umar. Also, the sum of 3,015,850 naira was recovered from 4 suspected kidnappers in Shendam local government area. The Commissioner of Police notes that a total of 118 cult syndicates were also arrested recently, and exhibits recovered include charms, Indian hemp, narcotic substances, as well as other dangerous weapons.
We are proactive with other security agencies. The whole command was overwhelmed with security presence, raiding of their hideouts and black spots.
He says all the cases are still under investigation and will be charged to court upon conclusion, as he appreciates state government, other security agencies, and the public for the support of the police in nipping crime in the bud. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemina, NTA News.
England and Spain are set for epic final of Euro 2024 later tonight in Berlin, where both teams are aiming for history. For more on this and other sports stories, let's join Suleiman Musa on Sports Update. That's Panorama from Jos. Thank you for watching. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.